Hi, hope you guys are all doing good. So the information bulletin for NEET MDS 2021 has been released. I suggest each and every one of you to go through that in detail. Spend around 30 minutes or 45 minutes maximum and go through the entire information given over there. Even if it takes 60 minutes, that's fine, right? And in this video, let's focus on relevant aspects given in information bulletin. Some key relevant aspects, right? So as you can see, a NEET MDS 2021 information bulletin, which is available at nba.edu.in. So now let's go through some important dates. So as you can see, various processes and timelines. So the ones which are relevant for you now, online submission of application form between 26th October to 15th November, edit window for all candidates 17th November to 19th November, and final edit window to rectify incorrect or deficient images, including photographs, signatures, thumb impressions. All specifications have been given over here. You have nothing to worry about. So 29th November to 30th November 2020, issue of admit card 9th December 2020, examination date 16th December 2020, declaration of result by 31st December 2020, right? And they've mentioned some abbreviations, so you can familiarize if you wish to, and contact NB helpline number, email, official website. Follow only these for any assistance, right? If you have any queries, any concerns, please mail them or call them and get everything clarified, right? Now let's see. They've mentioned about phone support and timings. Please go through them carefully. And official websites mcc.nic.in, mohfw.gov.in, and also emails mccpostgraduate@gmail.com. Also, we'll go through some additional information at the end of by the end of this session, right? So we have an index. So as you guys are all aware of, NEET MDS, it's an eligibility cum ranking examination for MDS courses, right? The scope is for MDS courses. No other entrance examination, either at state or institution level, shall be valid for entry to MDS courses. Qualifying NEET MDS is mandatory for entry to MDS courses under various universities, institutions in the country, and we have an exception. INSET for AIMS, JIPMER, and PGI, as you're all aware of. The scope of NEET MDS, they have clearly mentioned about the scope in 5 points. So all India 50% quota seats for MDS courses, all states, state quota seats for MDS courses for all state union territories of India, MDS courses at all private dental colleges, institutions, universities all across the country, MDS courses at AFMS institutions, and screening exam, right? Even the screening exam for dental surgeons for short service commission in Army Dental Corps, right? So this is the scope of NEET MDS. And they have given the exception here. The following dental institutions are not covered for admission to MDS courses through NEET MDS 2021, that is AIMS, New Delhi. And now they've clearly mentioned in a flow chart the admission to various MDS courses, right? So you have on left side, you can see various institutes which fall under mcc.nic.in, that is the ones which are taken care by Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India. On the right side, you can see they are to be filled by respective state governments or designated counseling authorities or respective state universities. So about NB, if you wish to, you can go through the same. And here you can see the remarks. NEET MDS, it's a single window entrance examination for admission to all MDS courses. Also, another one related to dentistry, FDGE, which is a screening test for foreign dental graduates. Also, we have shared a notification very recently, which is available at TCA website. Also, you can check our updates group, right? So information for candidates, so they're given plenty of information. Please go through all these points and consider this very, very important. Now, let me skip this part and then let me deal with other important relevant things, right? So like eligibility criteria, etc. So you can see so many points given over here. In this, I've highlighted demo test. So they've clearly mentioned that a demo test shall be available for benefit of candidates to familiarize themselves with computer-based test format at nb.edu.in. Candidates will be able to access the demo test from 1st December 2020 onwards. Okay. And examination fee, as you can see, for general OBC candidates, including GST, it's 4,425. For SC, ST, and PWD, it's 3,245, inclusive of 18% GST. Then regarding payment and all, you can review that. Eligibility criteria is something which I wanted to highlight. So eligibility criteria, as you can see, BDS degree is mandatory, and a candidate 4.2 A candidate who, after passing the final qualifying examination, is undergoing a 12-month compulsory rotatory internship or practical training and is likely to complete the same by 31st March 2021, right? These eligible candidates can take up the examination, but he or she shall not be eligible for admission unless he or she has completed the compulsory rotatory internship and obtained provisional permanent registration on or before 31st March 2021, or the candidate produces a certificate from the head of the institution that he or she will be completing the internship by 31st March 2021. Either one is valid. Okay. So as per the eligibility criteria, BDS degree and completion of 12 months compulsory rotatory internship by March 31st, 2021 is the eligibility criteria. Regarding internship, we have some exceptions, right? 6 months internship is accepted in specific instances, which we'll go through. And I'm sure you guys are all familiar with 2007 batch, right? Yeah, so also they mentioned to submit the original compulsory rotatory resident internship completion certificate at the time of counseling, which I'm sure a college management will provide you accordingly. And also they're given the exceptions, right? Not 12 months rotatory internship for everyone, but we have the following exceptions as mentioned in number 1 and number 2. Okay, so please go through the same. Don't miss even a single point. Don't miss even a single point given in this information bulletin. And here it's clearly given that some of the universities or institutions are having regulations that candidates who are already pursuing the PG course in their university or in other university are not eligible for admission till they complete the course. The candidates who are already pursuing PG courses either through AIQ or SQ, state quota, and are applying for a seat under AIQ may confirm the eligibility conditions of that university in this regard, right? So those who are again trying to take up the entrance, those especially who are pursuing PG, please look into the regulations laid out by your respective universities. And eligibility criteria for all India 50% quota seats. So candidates who have studied or passed BDS from Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir are not eligible for 50% all India quota seats, right? Yeah. And eligibility criteria for foreign nationals. So they've clearly mentioned that as per MDS course regulations 2017, it's not mandatory for foreign nationals to have temporary registration with DCI at the time of writing NEET MDS. Foreign nationals can write NEET MDS without DCI registration. And then let's move on to the next aspect, scheme of NEET MDS 2021. So it will be conducted on 16th December 2020. Syllabus in line with the one prescribed by DCI. Examination shall be a multiple choice questions test delivered using computers network as per scheme prescribed. So we have 240 multiple choice questions, single correct response questions in English language only. So we'll have only single correct response. Time allotted is 3 hours. There shall be 25% negative marking for incorrect answers. No marks will be deducted for unattempted questions. Okay. And marking scheme, as you can see, for correct response 4 marks, incorrect response 1 mark shall be deducted, 25%. Unattempted questions 0 marks. Okay. So during the examination, you'll be given a choice to review the questions, which means you can go through those questions which you mark for review again at the end of this exam or before you submit the exam. It's clearly given that candidates may note that such questions which are marked for review shall be evaluated as per the marking scheme mentioned above. So marked for review, it will be considered for counting, right? Don't assume that it will be considered as unattempted and you will be given 0. No, it will be considered as if you have attempted the question because you have attempted it, but you marked it for review so that you can review it a bit later, right? I hope it's clear. No confusion whatsoever, right? And then allocation of time for NEET MDS. So it's 2 to 5 p.m. One of you were asking me previously. So it's 2 to 5 p.m. as usual, but there are, because of this current pandemic, they're allotting some specific time slots so that there won't be any overcrowding. Okay, you can go batch wise. We'll review that information now. So allow candidates to enter examination center from 12 p.m. onwards. Entry closes at examination center 1:30 p.m. Grant access for candidate login 1:45. Reading instructions 1:50, starting time 2 p.m. All IST, right? So obviously IST, and exam end time it's 5 p.m. And this is the overview of computer-based test, which we have discussed now. And also you can go through the same. And then subject-wise distribution of questions. This is something which you're already familiar with. So total 240 questions. We have part A and part B. Part A seems to be having basic subjects, and part B we have clinical subjects. So number of questions from each subject, whether they follow this or not is secondary. But when you're preparing, keep these aspects in mind, right? So number of questions from each subject is 14, except general medicine and surgery, where they are, as per this notice, it's 15 questions each, right? So a total of 240 questions. Admit card and test day procedures. Admit cards are available at nbe.edu.in, and also they clearly mentioned that you can see 6.3 affix firmly their latest passport size photograph. Okay, latest photograph and size of photograph. They've clearly given all the specifications. Please do follow them religiously, right? Whatever is given, just blindly follow the same, so that there won't be any mistakes, and there won't be any cancellation of candidature as a consequence. Okay, so just go through the specifications, size of photograph, how the background has to be, no selfies, no expressions, neutral expression, no reflection to shadows. In fact, they've clearly given image-based discussion in regard to this. At the end of this PDF, we'll review that as well. Also the resolutions and other relevant points, right? Please go through them in detail. And test day procedures, they've clearly mentioned that you need not worry about, coronavirus spreading and all, because they clearly say that it's a social distanced computer-based test. Okay, so no fingerprints, nothing. Everything will be touchless except for your workstation. Okay, so test day procedures. NBE shall be conducting the social distanced computer-based test in safe and secure environment using touch-free processes, maintaining social distancing norms wherever needed. NB reserves its rights to review the test day processes of conduct of CBT in wake of changing scenario of COVID-19 pandemic. Entry of candidates as per time slots given in admit cards. So consider this very, very important. Please go through the admit cards once they're available carefully for the time slot. So candidates are required to report at the reporting counter of test venue at as per time indicated in their admit cards. To avoid crowding at the test venue entry, as we discussed prior, there will be staggered time slots for candidates to report. Candidates will be required to report at the exam venue as per the time slot informed via SMS on their registered mobile number 1 day prior to exam day. The reporting counter will close 30 minutes prior to the test start time. This will allow time for security checks, identity verification, and checking in for examination. Please consider this very, very important. Candidates reporting late or beyond the prescribed time shall not be allowed to appear in the exam under any circumstances, right? Yeah. Test center location, the given right exact address and location of test centers shall be indicated in the admit cards. Okay. Barcode QR code reader at entry points. The candidate will flash the admit card and ID proof for verification to the exam functionaries standing across the table with barcode QR code reader. So, and also they mentioned that there won't be any frisking because of this social distancing rules. Use of thermogun. So in case if any one of you are having symptoms or you're having fever, you have nothing to worry about, because even you can take up the exam in isolation lab. So use of thermoguns, all candidates will be checked at the entry point for fever with thermoguns. In case candidate is observed to be having above normal temperature, that is more than 99.14 degrees Fahrenheit, or displaying any symptoms of COVID-19 infection, he or she will be allowed to take examination in a separate isolation lab. Okay. And candidates must bring to the test center the following documents. Consider this very, very important. No confusion whatsoever. Printed copy of barcoded, QR coded admit card with his or her photograph pasted on it. Any one of the below mentioned government issued photo IDs, right? It must be original and valid, right? So this is very, very important. Any one of the following: PAN, driving license, voter ID, passport, Aadhaar, etc. And please make sure that the name on the photograph identification or photo identification must match with the name as shown on admit card, right? It's obvious. And then security at test center, they have clearly mentioned, like, see, before, the reason why I'm going through this is, before the day of exam, I get a lot many queries where candidates ask, like, can we have ear pins or nose pins or bangles or rings? Please go through this information. So nothing of that sort will be allowed except for the materials which you will be allowed to carry, right? Admit card and one of the original identification cards, etc. So as you can see, none of these will be allowed into the exam center. And candidates will be permitted to carry items, certain items like face mask, gloves, personal, transparent water bottle, personal hand sanitizer in a transparent bottle, exam related documents. Okay, it's very clear, no confusion whatsoever. Frisking will not be done while social distancing is in effect, and finger biometrics of candidates shall not be captured. Face ID shall be verified at the time of registration for the test. Okay. Yeah, and also no rough paper will be given for any rough work. Any suspicious or disruptive behavior on part of candidate may lead to cancellation of candidature, so please behave yourself. And in manual attendance, candidate signature and ink fingerprint shall not be done in social distancing computer-based test. And in case of any technical disruption during the test, rest assured that a candidate or registered candidate will get complete allocated examination time, and they've given some case-based scenarios. As you can see, if any disruption happens, if candidate machine is locked during exam, or what if candidate complains of any specific issues in the machine, you have nothing to worry about. They will address your concerns and they will make sure that you're getting all the 3 hours time as it is without any doubt. Okay. Now, let's hope nothing of that sort happens. And anyways, having said that, we should always prepare for the worst, obviously. And centers for NEET MDS 2021. So as you can see, they're mentioned around 79 centers, right? Exactly 79, tentative list of cities. And I'm sure they're going to add more and more depending upon the requirement, right? So it's first come, first serve basis, as you're all aware of. So exact venue will be informed to candidates through admit cards. At the time of online submission of application form, the candidate will be required to choose the city in which he or she wants to take the test. The choice of city will depend on availability of test centers in a particular city, and the allotment shall be done on first come, first serve basis. Having said that, please don't be in a rush, because they'll make sure that you are allotted to the same city to which you belong to. Please don't be in a rush. Okay, don't panic. In case of testing seat is not available in state or union territory in which the candidate prefers to appear in NEET MDS 2021, this can happen. He or she can choose the option others from the list of states or UTs at the time of selection, right? And NB will make all efforts to ensure that candidate is allotted a testing center in state of correspondence address of the candidate, depending upon your correspondence address. In case testing seat is not available in the concerned state due to logistic, administrative, or other reasons, testing center in the nearby state shall be allocated. Candidates opting for others option shall be informed about the testing city by 20th November 2020. 20th November it is, right? And rest of the information, yeah, instructions to fill online NEET MDS 2021 application form. I'm sure you can go through this in detail, and I request you all to go through this in detail. Let's look into the summary, right? So that we'll have a comprehensive understanding of how this entire procedure is going to be. So as you can see, the following sequence shall be observed while filling the online application form. Fill the user registration form to generate user ID or application ID and password. User ID and password will be sent through SMS and email. Please make sure you're giving correct mail IDs and phone numbers. Complete the application form and upload your photograph, scanned signature, and thumb impression as per the specifications mentioned over here at later part, and choose your test city and pay examination fee. Agree to declaration and submit application. Take a printout of the filled application form with transaction ID printed on it for records. Consider each and every step very, very important, equally important. Caution notice, NDA, unfair means, so you can go through that. I suggest you all to go through that, okay? Each and every word which is given in information bulletin, because after all, this is your exam, isn't it? Yeah, results in counseling. I think this is something which we can discuss after your exam, right? So as you can see, as you're all aware of, eligibility criteria, 50th percentile for general EWS candidates, 40th percentile for SC, ST, OBC, 45th percentile for UR PWD candidates. And date of declaration of result, which we already discussed prior, by 31st December, not on, but by 31st December, okay? And there shall be, they'll not entertain any requests of re-evaluation or rechecking or retotaling, and they have given the tiebreaker criteria. You can go through the same, all of this after the exam, after December 16th, okay? Yeah. So anything else? Yeah, I think we still have few more aspects. I will try to cover them as well and wind up this video. Okay. Yeah, and in the meantime, please keep smiling. Please keep smiling. It's okay. It's absolutely fine. Please go through this entire information. And regarding centers for issuing PWD certificates, 11 centers are identified for issuing of a PWD certificate for 50% AAQ, central institutions or universities, right? Yeah. Admission to MDS courses at AFMS and SSC in armed dental corps, okay? Please go through this information as well. Those are planning for admission in those respective institutions. Everything is given in detail. If you have any queries, you're more than welcome to post them in the comment section below. Or you all have the helpline. Yeah, and also they're given the flow chart of NEET MDS result and seat allotment, which we'll deal with later, okay? After your exam, where you guys will have plenty of time, you can dissect it accordingly. Communication protocols, they're clearly given the helpline number, email, official website, and while you're mailing them, make sure you're mailing to this particular ID, right? So consider this very, very important. And also, you should be mailing them with the following details, or else they are clearly saying that they would not entertain any mails deviating from this manner. So make sure you're entering all these details when you're sending them mail for any queries or assistance, okay? And please do not send the same mail multiple times. This is something which even we face on a day-to-day basis. It only delays the response time, isn't it? Just send one mail, that's suffice. And please go through these instructions in detail. Image upload instructions, photograph, thumb impression, signature, etc., and follow them as it is. Okay. And also we'll review some images that are given some specific instructions like which are acceptable, which are not acceptable, okay, in the form of image based discussion, as I mentioned in the beginning. So as you can see, photographs, the ones which are acceptable, the ones which are not acceptable, right? So cropped images, not looking straight at the camera, black and white photographs. So make sure that you're following the ones which are given with green tick mark, not with the red mark, okay? So this is something which I suggest all of you to go through. This is quite simple, but they have to elaborate on this because thanks to social media, photographs, taking photographs is altogether at a different level in social media, isn't it? Yeah. So, and then also instructions for acceptable signatures. They've clearly given all the things like which will be acceptable, which will not be acceptable, and also various instructions for thumb impressions. Instructions for acceptable thumb impressions. Please go through these images in detail and do not take it lightly. Okay. And then we have various annexures. Okay. So you can go through them in your free time and consider this task of reviewing the entire information given in the information bulletin very, very important, right? So please don't miss it out. Go through each and every word in detail. And as I said, consider this task very, very important. And you have any further queries or you need any further assistance, please contact their helpline accordingly. And also, of course, you're more than welcome to get back through mail at proudtobedentist@gmail.com, or you can drop comments right beneath this video for any further assistance from our side. So with courage in heart and smile on face, please see things as they are and focus on giving your best each and every moment. So wish you all the best. Love you all.